also get higher than I was when I told you my SR yesterday.
All
So
right.
I actually passed my career high.
Nice. Right. So while we're in queue, we can talk for a few minutes. So first off, how long have you been playing Overwatch for?
I started playing in the beta on Xbox, but then we didn't really actually start playing until like season 10.
Okay.
And I was never that good at aiming on Xbox, so I started on Mercy, and I was like silver, and then I ended up from watching a bunch of people streaming and like XQC and stuff like that. I ended up playing Rhine and got up to like plat on Xbox before switching to PC.
All right.
Traveling to Dorado. Prepare your defenses.
And then let's say like the past 2 weeks or so, how often have you been playing?
Probably like 3 times a week and like 5 to 8 matches a night on those nights.
Okay. Wait, so you only play 3 days a week?
Yeah.
Or but then on those nights it's 5 to 10 matches.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Let's get you back out there. Let's shoot for a new high score.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
I've got you.
Okay, and then final question is, do you have any questions for me before we begin?
Not really.
All right. Well, then we'll just watch some gameplay and then come up with some stuff as we go.
Sounds good.
5, 4, 3, 2.
I'm also a very shy person, but I'm gonna try to talk more than I usually would.
Stop the
Mhm.
Don't worry, my friends. I am your shield.
Thought I had somebody up here with me. They're over there.
Reinhardt, you haven't.
Okay, good timing on the rotation. Okay, make sure that if you're not actually actively shielding anything important, that you're not just holding down shield, right? That's the time that you could be recharging shield. But if you don't have anybody behind you at all that's actually like you're protecting, then there's no reason to be holding up your shield.
Gotcha.
Heroes never die.
So can you play hit scan?
Reloading. Oh, you went into the shield, man. I got safe with it. What's that? Oh, you got no way. Go for Doom.
You chatter?
Oh my god. Why didn't I get nano?
Because I was gonna die.
Alright. So, big thing that's just with your playstyle here, I'm gonna turn on your game volume because people are talking. Big thing with your playstyle here is that you are playing super passive and holding up shield, and then trying to get super aggressive when you don't have shield. Now, the flaw with this playstyle is that Reinhardt's not a passive character. Reinhardt's an aggressive character. If you're looking to just play as a shield, you play Orisa or Sigma because they can both shoot and shield. Now, Reinhardt, he's a brawl character. He wants to get close and personal. And if you're waiting until after your shield's gone to do that, then that means that you have no way to get out or to protect yourself while you're in the middle of the fight. So look to use your shield when you are going into the fight and backing out of the fight. Don't just have it plopped up out if there's no reason to, right? Use it for when the fight's actually happening, not when there's nothing going on.
Gotcha.
Okay, so down 2 people there. Really just trying to regroup at that point. When your team's all staggering and dying, then we're either looking to just regroup or get out. Get out or die fast, right? So that we're not staggering ourselves, right? The longer we try to stay alive, if we know we can't actually get out, then that's just more time that we're staggering.
Gotcha.
Okay, you gotta really pay attention to your health, watch where your team's at as well, right? Can't push super far forward if your team's not with you, and you gotta make sure that you're ready to put up that shield as soon as other people start shooting at you. Okay. Okay, nice aggression.
I think the fact that you level 700 in gold is a you problem, not a me problem.
Heroes never die.
Bob, I'm giving up because my team is
Well, no reason to wake up Bob if he's sleeping, right? Just leave him slept, and then you can then focus on somebody else. Like, right, Bob's essentially out of the fight if he slept, so that means we can look to spend our time and abilities on somebody else who is in the fight still.
Gotcha.
Огонь по готовности.
yeah, ours are.
Okay, there we got a little too aggressive, and that just meant that they ulted us and we ended up dying. So really got to watch our aggression if we're and engaging at the right places. We'll talk more about that after this game's done, but just keep that in mind. Right, watch kill feed, make sure that you're paying attention to the flow of the fight. When they only have 3 people alive and you guys have close spawns, that means that you guys pretty much won that fight, right? They're not realistically going to be able to win, which means that you using that shatter there, while yes, did get like a ton of kills, might not have gotten its max value because you could have used it in the next fight. So really pay attention to kill feed because that can let you know whether or not you're winning and losing or losing.
They're capping point.
I got you. That is something I need to work more on.
And we'll talk more about that when we get the opportunity to.
Heroes never die.
You want Nano run?
You were gonna die, why don't you now? Come on, you were gonna die, why don't you now?
Tell what you're not again. I'm trying to be house.
No power down. Get in there.
Healing stream engaged.
Adaptive circuits engaged. It's what? Diva.
Nice shatter. Alright, so again, kind of gotta watch health a little bit. If we're seeing that we're on the lowish end, we gotta make sure we're shielding up so that we can survive longer. Unfortunate that the timer ticked on there. So, while we're in between rounds here, we can talk for a little bit about some stuff that we didn't get to go into depth on. So, kill feed, watching kill feed, knowing when we're up and down people. How that really works out is when we're paying attention to it and we see let's say we're up 1 to 2 people, that is an advantage, right? That means that we can play more aggressively, we can play faster, and we are winning the fight. Okay, now if we're up 2 to 3 people, a lot of the time that's going to be a 1 fight, and we probably don't want to use ults anymore. We can play super aggressive and super fast, right? Because if they have only 3 people alive and it's a 3v6, then that means that they're really not going to be able to kill us fast enough to win the fight, right? We can probably pretty much just swarm them and overwhelm them with pure numbers. So there are situations where that's not going to apply, like if they use all their ultimates, or if it's maybe last fight of the game and you maybe don't want to hold on to ultimates in that situation. So there are going to be exceptions to the rule, but that's just a general rule of thumb. In the average fight, if you're up 3 people, right, you've probably won the fight. Okay, and it goes the opposite way too. If you're down 1 to 2 people, that's a disadvantage, so you want to play slower, play more passive. If you are down 2 to 3 people, you have lost the fight, so that means no more ultimates, no more, you probably want to die or get out, right, regroup. You don't want to stagger, so that's really just how paying attention to kill feed works.
Gotcha.
Instead of standing up on cart, use cart as cover, because then that can mean that your shield's not gonna be taking the full brunt of all damage. Okay, so we can talk about this again, right, more in depth after this game, but just keep in mind for this game that they are playing a spam composition. So what they're looking to do is play slow and far away. You guys are running more of a brawl comp, especially since you're on Reinhardt. So you need to make sure that you're playing fast and close to them. You want to try to get really on top of them and play aggressive. They don't want you to play that way, and the slower you end up playing, the more of an advantage they end up getting.
Gotcha.
Are you just not here? Anna, come here. Anna, come here. Anna, I need kills. Anna, I need kills. Anna, I need killing. Anna, heal me. Anna, heal me. Anna, heal me.
Okay, so you have not used charge much this game, and that is an example of where you would not use charge. You probably want to be using charge a little bit more than you are currently, but that example of charge wasn't fantastic because when you use charge, a lot of the time, unless it's for movement, you do not want to do a long distance charge because that locks you in an animation where they can just shoot at you for free and they can dodge out of the way easily. So you're just gonna die very easily if you're trying to do long charges. So when you're charging, oftentimes you're going to want to do short charges. We're charging into very close walls. Or
Gotcha.
the other thing to keep in mind is that you can also, especially on defense, is charge out a spawn, and then that can get you back to the fight faster. Which that's one thing that I did not see you really doing much, but that's definitely something that is going to help you just kind of get to the fights faster. Okay. Nice swings.
I thought he was low ground.
Yep. Just don't rush your shatters. They do not have a single shield on their team, so make sure you're not trying to panic with it. If you get big shatters, that's gonna be a large part of your ability to carry on Reinhardt is landing big shatters, right? On their team right now, they don't have any shields that can block you besides maybe like bubble. So you should be getting free shatters if you are placing them correctly. Right, so I am gonna open up Overwatch real quick and we'll go over some stuff.
Play of the game.
I am going to be streaming over Discord if you want to go take a look.
Okay.
Alright, so, trying to think of what the different things that we were going to go over. So, first off, gotta turn on the volume there. Basically, some of the big things with your gameplay is just kind of the fundamentals of how your kit works. One good thing I would probably say you do is you fire strike off of cooldown, and your fire strikes are very well placed. So fire strikes, nothing to worry about there, right? Your fire strikes are good. Your charges need a little bit of work. Your shield usage is probably one of the biggest things they need, or that I think is going to need a lot of work on. Your shatters seemed pretty good. They just were a little bit inconsistent with how you were placing them, especially for the fact that they didn't have anything to block them a lot of the time. They were still ended up half the time they ended up doing a ton, half the time they didn't end up doing anything. So you got to make sure that you're putting a little bit more effort into those shatters. So here we're gonna just go over like how to properly use Reinhardt's shield. So we're gonna go more into depth on this. We did talk about this very briefly in game. So Reinhardt is a brawl character, right? Reinhardt wants to play close and fast into enemies because if he is far and trying to play slow and just holding shield here, okay, if that's an enemy Orisa and her whole team behind her, then her team has the advantage because she can shoot and shield and pull, right? We can only shield or damage. We can only shield or fire strike, and we can only shield or swing, right? We can't do both at the same time. So we're going to be doing much better off if we are up next to enemies, where we can do a whole bunch of cleave damage and swing through their whole team, right? So now that we've established that Ryan's a brawl character, we want to make sure that we are brawling when we have our abilities available. So specifically, when we have our health up and when we have our shield health up. When we have our shield health up and our health up, we can play super aggressive because that means that we are going to be able to get in and out easily. Whereas if we are, what your current play style looks like is you go and shield and you sit here with your AFK with your shield and let your team shoot for like 5 seconds. You wait till your shield breaks and then you try to push forward. Now why that doesn't work is because of the fact that now you're in here and you're swinging, and then you're low, and then you have like 300 HP on your shield when you put it up, right? And then that means that you have to back out through this whole wide open space, and you don't have any shield to do that. So what you want to do instead is we want to shield when we go in, and we want to shield when we're getting out, and we want to get aggressive when we have our shield health and regular health up and available. So something else, I don't know if are you aware of how to shield hop?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw that frequently, and I guess we'll just go over real quick, like, when that's supposed to be used, right? You might know the tech, but we'll just go over real quick, like, even as a refresher, if you do know, just when you should be using it in general. But really the big thing when you should be using it is when you're trying to cover distance fast. So, for example, if we're trying to push up through this long open area onto the enemy team, we would be shield hopping in, right, so that we are moving at a much faster rate. The advantage of shield hopping is that we move faster, right, versus if we're just regular shielding, then we're moving very slow, okay? But if we're also trying to back up, right, because maybe we push in and they start using ultimates, so we go, oh, snap, right, and we just start shield hopping backwards, and now we're backing up very fast. Now, if we or our team are low HP, then we can't shield hop because we need to be hard holding shield, but shield hopping can kind of help us rotate our health and the shield health, so that our shield's taking a little bit less damage and we can get kind of healed up in the meantime. So it means that we kind of stay alive longer, and then also we get in and out faster, so our movement's going to be a lot faster. And when we're getting places faster and getting out of them faster, we're taking less damage overall. So that's when you'd want to be using shield hopping. Now, we're going to go over kind of just general cover real quick and how tanks should be using that. So, right here on Reinhardt, we're going to come up here. Now, this is going to be... This is general positioning, and this will apply on to like pretty much every character in the game. This is going to apply to squishy targets, any game in FPS game in existence, right? Fortnite, Valorant, any game. This is just general positioning. Okay, if this is the enemy team, right? 6 people shooting at us. They're all using ultimates. It takes us 1, 2, 3 seconds to get behind the nearest cover. Now, that means that in that time we are dead, right? We didn't have shield because they just broke it, and we died in that time because they shredded us. So, whereas if we're standing here, now we have the option to, in half a second, duck behind cover, and now we are safe. So, when good positioning is the usage of cover, whereas bad positioning is the absence of cover. That's bad positioning because up there there's no cover that we can get to. Whereas right here, this is good positioning because we have the option to just get behind cover if we want to. Cover can take a lot of different forms. The biggest forms are going to be doorways and corners. Corners most of all, right? That's like a corner there. But you can also use something like a slope, right? Now they can't see us, so we use this slope. We use pillars like this. Okay. You can use corners, right? CS can't see us. If you're a smaller target, you can use something like that. Okay, you can use pillars again there. Corner, doorway, corner, corner, high ground, right? So, on tank, you dictate where your team is standing. So why this is important is if you're standing right here on the open and they start using a ton of ults, or your shield breaks, or you drop shield, then your entire team is also standing out in the open, right? Because they're sitting behind your shield. So you are leading by example, whereas if you're having the bad example and not standing next to cover, they also will not be standing next to cover, and your whole team will have bad positioning as a result. But if we are standing over by cover, now our whole team is also standing next to cover. What this does for our shield is it means that our shield will be taking a lot less damage, because when only half of this is visible, they can only shoot at half of it, and it will be taking a lot less spam damage, so your shield will stay alive for a lot longer. You will be in much better positioning, and your team will be in much better positioning. Okay, so corners are where you want to be playing, covers where you want to be playing. So when we're trying to take space, we're always trying to get from one piece of cover to the next piece of cover. So let's say the enemy team's up there, we're trying to then take control of where our bot's at right there. Right, so we're trying to maybe shield hop up to there, right? And now we're taking this cover, and then we're swinging around this corner. Okay, so we're always attempting to get to the next piece of cover. Now that we've established what basic general positioning is on tank, we're going to go over real quick what no man's land is on tank. I'm actually going to go to a map for this because it can be better kind of explained on especially payload maps here. Yeah, I'm trying to think. We probably do Junkertown or something like that. So, no man's land is any long stretch of open space that resembles a choke point where there's no cover. Okay, so we can get that effect really on the entire road of most payload maps, right? The entire payload pathing is a lot of the time going to be a no man's land area. So, here, this whole area is no man's land. If we are standing right here on cart, the nearest cover is long ways away. Takes us a couple seconds to get there, especially if we're standing here with our whole team. So if any team is positioned on this pathway, they're going to be in a large open area where there's no cover, or virtually no cover, right? So especially you can get that feel really when you get to this area, right? There's very, very little cover if you're standing out in the open here. So this is an area where if you kind of use it correctly, you can use no man's land to your advantage and not to your disadvantage. So an example here would be if we are pushed up right here, right, at the very start of the game, then that means that when the enemy team pushes out and we need to back up to somewhere, we have to push through no man's land, right? we have nowhere to back up to because there's no cover from anywhere from here to that box, right? Roughly. Okay, there's very little cover from here to there. So as we're backing up, we're forced to back up for this whole long period of time, us and our whole team, up until we get about to right here, and now we're safe. But in that entire period of time, our whole team's dead because we misused No Man's Land. This whole area is No Man's Land, and we do not want to hold at the beginning of No Man's Land, we want to hold at the end of it. So if instead we held up on the high ground and then maybe we dropped it to this side, now we can shoot at them the entire time they're walking in, and we can do a ton of spam damage on them while they're trying to walk towards us, and then once they get a lot closer to us, then we can engage on them. Okay, and then that means that if we're engaging on them right here, there's a lot less of a time period it takes us to just back up and get to this corner. Okay, because this corner is going to give us a lot of just good cover, right? So when we're using No Man's Land, we don't want to stand in No Man's Land or at the front of No Man's Land. We want to stand at the end of No Man's Land if we're defending. If we're attacking, our goal is to get through No Man's Land as fast as possible while also using kind of cover as we go. So we'd be going here, okay, moving to the right here, using this cover, right? Now we're pushing forwards where we can use this room maybe, and then we're using this box as cover, right? So we're trying to push in as fast as possible so we're taking as little spam damage as possible while also using cover as we go. Okay, so
Gotcha.
all of that makes sense. Any questions?
No, it's good.
Okay, well then you can probably go ahead and get started on a queue.
Okay.
Now traveling to Busan. Prepare for battle. Select your hero.
Oh snap, there's one more thing I wanted to go over, but I forgot, so we'll have to do it after the next game, or after this game.
An annoyance.
Okay.
Who's ready for some karaoke?
Five, four, three, two, one. Round one. Capture the objective.
Okay, so those types of charges are exactly what you want to do for movement when you're coming back from fights, right? So that you can get back as fast as possible. As long as the fight's still going on, of course. You don't want to push in if your team's not there. Good usage of cover here. Remember to shield when you're lower on your HP. Okay, so fight's done. It's over, right? Us trying to do this where we're shielding and we're trying to get out and we're pinning, right? Us using all these abilities are only prolonging our death, and it's meaning that we're coming out of spawn while half our team is pushed forward, which means that we're wasting time, and we're also meaning that our team might be pushing in without us. So we want to make sure that we're not staggering and we're trying to die. If we know that we lost the fight, we're either trying to get out or we're trying to die. Okay. Your shatter's a cone, right? It spreads out and it's very thin at the start. So when you're trying to land the shatter on people who are closer to you, you want to back up before you shatter, so that you're not just only hitting 1 or 2 people, right? So since it spreads out, you want to back up so that you get that spread out.
Gotcha.
Also, make sure that you're not always just swinging on the tanks, right? If you have the option to swing on somebody else because they're going to be dying a lot easier than if you're just constantly trying to swing on a Roadhog. You're up 2 people, pay attention to kill feed, play aggressive when you're up people.
Alright. Okay, dude.
Okay, gotta pay attention to your health, because if we're trying to still swing when we're low, then we're just gonna get instant melted. Your Ana seem to be continuously nanoing you super early to where you are getting nanoed when you're not even able to touch anybody. So alternatively here, what you can do is try to call for the nano and say, hey Ana, this fight let me, I want to call when you nano me, right? So then you just say, hey Ana, nano me, right, when you want it and when you're close in on top of them, because if you're getting nanoed when you're nowhere near them, you're not going to be able to swing on them and get any value.
Gotcha.
Okay, you shatter this fight, focus on making it big, right? They don't have any shields. Oh, sorry, burp. They don't have any shields, so you should be able to get a big one off. Huge.
There was one inside here.
Look to get aggressive, right? Pay attention to your health. You have a ton of health. Pay attention to your shield. You have a ton of shield. Your whole team's up. You're just looking at get staggers right now. Right? When you remember, when you're up people, you can play a little bit more aggressive. But pay attention where your team's at, because your team's not with you right now. Okay, so there we ended up overstaying our welcome when we got aggressive, right? We only had our Zarya with us, and we ended up staying too far forwards to where they ended up being able to punish us for it. So we want to push forward more aggressive fast, but then also be ready to back up fast, right? So
Gotcha.
when we have the advantage, we want to push the advantage, and when we now don't have the advantage anymore, then we back up so that we are now in much better positioning.
I could have used a little more time to get ready.
Justice delivered. Five, four, three, two, one. Round two. Capture the objective.
Behind me.
That was not what I meant to do.
Yep, just make sure you're shielding out, right? Okay, up 2, get really aggressive. Nice pin, probably wanted to keep us up where our team was though. Good map awareness with that health pack. Okay, so at the very start of that fight, I probably would have liked to see you push forward a little bit further, right? Takes a little bit better of positioning, because if you're up in the middle there, then you're going to have better positioning than the people kind of waiting back, right? Remember, you should be dictating where your team's going, not them. You want to be in the front line. Okay. Okay, so while you did end up getting a big shatter, also keep in mind that when their Reinhardt's charging at you from across the map, that's a perfect time to shatter because he doesn't have his shield up.
I thought I saw he had Zarya bubble. Was the only reason I didn't, but I went for the echo because I didn't want it hard to get another shatter. I shouldn't have fire striked.
Hmm?
Adaptive circuits engaged. Moira. Adjusting angle of
Okay, you want to be pushing forward up on the high ground. You want to take the choke point because that's going to be the easiest place that you can hold. So that little area where they have to push through is an area where you can spam them while the whole time that they come through. So just look to hold that. Yep, exactly where you are right now. Okay, nice. Yeah, push back up into the same position. They want to take it fast so that we can get these staggers here. Okay. Okay, there, gotta step a little bit to the left so that Shatter's hitting more people. Also, this Ryan, you gotta be making sure that you're kind of picking up on themes in games, right? So, something that this Reinhardt likes to do a ton is he likes to charge a lot more than other Reinhardts do, right? He's very, very chargy. He's tried to pin you like 10 times so far this game, so when you see that and you take that into account, we need to be ready for those charges so that he's not doing the same exact charge on us twice in a row and pinning us off the high ground into point, right? Because he almost ended up getting away with it the second time, so we have to be ready for those charges, because if he's charging into the middle of our team, that gives us an opportunity to countercharge him and just plop him on the floor. Okay, so I'm gonna have two things, or roughly, to go over here. First thing will just be going over. Oh, that's not what I wanted to stream. First thing, we'll just go over some Reinhardt tech real quick. So other really good tech that you have is that you do swing your camera a lot when you're going for swinging, so that's really good. That means that you're gonna have a wider range on who you're hitting, and you're gonna be hitting multiple people at once. So that is very good on your Reinhardt. When you do land shatters, though, is where we're gonna come into an issue here. Oh, I'm on 200 ping for some reason. Yeah, we're just gonna get our shatter up here real quick. No, I think it would have been faster if I was up with those 2 bots up top. Alright, so we have shatter. So when we land the shatter, try to see, probably be best if we did these 2. What we want to do is we want to basically try to be landing as much damage on as many people as we can. So we want to swing our camera, we want to not focus on the tanks, look to focus on the squishies in the back line, are probably going to be the biggest things that we want to do. And then another piece of tech we can do is we can crouch fire strike, because what that does is that instead of us angling down when we throw a fire strike, right? When we throw a fire strike, if we crouch when we throw the fire strike, and we look up a little bit here, this evens us out so that we're throwing this fire strike straight, so we can hit more people with it. Okay, so sorry, 1 second. So if we land the shatter here, what we can do is shatter. Oh, well, that didn't work out. I pressed shift. My bad. You can shatter and then crouch fire strike, and then that gets you a whole bunch of group damage on people, right? Whereas a lot of the time we're going for single fire strikes, which is only hitting 1 person. Okay? And we're also a lot of the time when we shatter, we're focusing on the tanks, which isn't going to get us a ton of value with it.
Gotcha.
And we'll try this again without me charging. And we're shattering, crouch, fire strike. That's both of them. You swing, they're dead. Okay, now one other thing that we can just keep in mind that you are capable of doing is you can be looking around with your shield, right? If you hold left click, you can look around, so utilize this a lot. You can use it to check where your team's at, and then as well as that, there's a little sneaky shatter tech you can use by shielding up into a wall like this and turning your camera, and then what you can do is just kind of jump around this corner and shatter like so, right? And then that's a way that you can shatter if you have kind of the if you're like, a lot of time this works on defense, right? Because you know they're coming, you can see when they drop shield, you can just jump around the corner and shatter them when they drop their shield. So that's a little bit of useful tech for landing shatters on, like, especially other Reinhardts. Now we're going to exit the desktop. I'm going to link you a picture real quick. Let me go get that. I can find it. Okay. Okay, there we go. So, if you want to go take a look at that in Discord, this is a rough composition chart, and this is going to be very helpful for knowing how your team should be playing in comparison to the enemy team. So basically, there are 3 main like comps in the game that have been in the game since the beginning, and every single composition since then has been a variation of the 3. You have your dive, which you of course should know what that is. It's a very common term that you've probably heard a million times. Okay, that's a little bit more complicated, and unless we're running dive a ton, I'm not gonna go into depth on that. But just know that that's a little bit of a little bit diverse with how they play. They're gonna be playing far away from you, and then diving in close to you, and they're gonna be fast and slow in different time periods. But the main ones I want you to look at are the brawl, spam, and hybrid. Now, Brawl is going to be your standard Ryan Zarya, Mei, Reaper, Lucio, Moira. Okay, they want to play fast, they want to play close because they're close range heroes, and that means that the slower and further away they play from the enemy team, the worse off they're going to be doing, and they're probably going to lose that. Right, so they want to make sure that they're playing fast and close. And if you're trying to be a Reinhardt main, a lot of the time Reinhardt's a brawl. So Reinhardt's a brawl character. So a lot of the time your team is going to be classified as a brawl composition. Okay, if you're playing a brawl character, so a lot of the time you're going to want to play that far and close play style, but that's not going to be all the time. So let's take a look at the other composition here, or other two here. Spam is the basic opposite of Brawl. Spam is you're going to be your standard double shield, right? Orisa Sigma, any snipers, any long range characters, it could be your BAP, Zen, Mercy type deal, right? So spam characters look to play far away from you, and they look to play super slow, so that they're just getting a ton of poke damage until they finally get kills. Okay, so spam and brawl play complete opposites of each other. So you need to really pay attention to on your team how many what are the different characters on my team, and what compositions do they fit into. So what is my team comp, right? So when we know that we're playing a brawl comp, because the majority of our team are brawl characters, then we want to play fast and close. If we are on Reinhardt, but the other 5 characters on our team are on the spam comp, then we can't play fast and close, because that will mean that we are going against the fundamental principle of our team composition, right? And we will probably lose because our team's trying to play slow, and they're trying to play far away from the enemy team, and we're trying to play close, and we're trying to play fast into them. So we really need to pay attention to that so that we can better prepare for it. Now, the middle one here is called a hybrid comp. This is what has been meta for a little while now in ranked, which is going to be like your Hug Zarya, right? So hybrid is any mix of the 3 different comps, right? This is going to be just when things get all weird and crazy and you get into ranked compositions a lot of the time. They're basically going to play most similar to a spam, but they're going to be a little bit more split up, right? They're looking to play far away and slow, and they're looking to just kind of get picks and do their own thing and frag out, like get solo frags, right, and get kills. So they're all going to look to play a little bit different than a spam, but mostly a spam comp. And then since they're going to be running a little bit of everything, it's going to be whatever they're closest to, right? If they're running a hybrid, but they're also running like a lot of brawl characters, they might be running. They might be a little bit closer to a brawl than a spam. So hybrid's going to be in the middle, and they're going to be the most diverse out of all of the different comps here.
Gotcha.
So you can go ahead and get into your next game. Just keep in mind that the first thing that you should be doing each game that you're getting into is paying attention to. Actually, we have 9 minutes, so we might not be able to get a whole comp game in. Do you want to do a quick play?
Sure.
Okay, so yeah, just keep in mind that the first thing you're doing each game is you're paying attention to what is my team composition, right? Because we're changing our play. Your play style will be dependent on team comp, right? Your team comp and the enemy team comp. So once you see the enemy team comp, that's also going to dictate how you're playing.
Gotcha.
Justice will be done.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Empty your mind. Focus on the task at hand.
I live for a good fight.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Okay, so they are on a Sigma Zarya, McCree, Zenyatta. They are playing a spam composition. Okay, so we want to make sure that in comparison to them, we're playing a bit faster because we're on a Reinhardt. Okay, keep us out for me real quick. I was not paying attention to our team comp. So yeah, we are running mostly a brawl. We're on Breaku's Brawl, Ana who's Brawl, Rein who's Brawl, Diva who can be Brawl, and Genji who can be Brawl, okay? So most of our comp is a Brawl comp, and then most of their comp is a spam comp. So we want to make sure that we're playing more aggressive than they are, and trying to play closer and not give them wide open spaces to take advantage of. Remember, when we have shield, we're not just sitting there shielding, because we can't do anything with that. We want to be pushing forwards so that we can use shield to get in and out, not shield. Really, our shield is very rarely going to want to just be used to just plop there, right? That's not how Rein's playstyle is. Reinhardt doesn't. If you're just using it for your team to spam the enemy team, remember, they're going to win if you're trying to win the spam war. So we need to make sure that we're trying to get in within brawl range. Okay, so our whole team's dead. Good decision to back up, right? Maybe if you're a little bit closer, you wouldn't be able to back up, but you definitely are able to back up since you are so close to spawn.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Barrier won't hold forever.
Into the iris.
Okay, really, probably looking for a shatter here, so
Ow. Yeah.
unfortunate fat finger. You're good. Okay, so though they are playing a spam comp, you're probably going to want to look to set up basically on the corner where card is. Okay, because then that pushes them through no man's land, which even though they're spam, they still don't want to be pushing through no man's land. But now, because you stayed up so long, you guys are pushing back through no man's land. So yeah, you want to play this corner. That's exactly where you want to play. And then as soon as they get within range where you can run on them, that's where you engage on them.
Nano boost administered. Echo here.
Don't get caught.
I'll feel that in the morning.
Enemy target.
Okay, so there, because of the fact that you had to push through a lot of open area, again, right, you had to push through a lot of open space to get to them, that's not a time where you want to be aggressive and push forward. Now, the aggression that we're talking about with your composition is just a base aggression, kind of, that's how you should be playing standardly, but that doesn't always dictate how you should be playing in the moment. There are other things that still go into it, right? Are you up or down people in the fight? How far away are they? If they're playing super far away, you might not be able to run into them because they're just going to blow you up, right? So wait until they get closer and then you can actually run in on them. Very rarely will there be many rules that will apply in all situations in Overwatch. There's going to be a lot of situational things where you always need to take in the information and make decisions off of what's happening in the fight. Alright, we're up against a Sigma, so we're waiting for him to place the shield, and then we can just kind of run past it and shatter. Or if we see it break or something like that. Nice, doing exactly what I just called. Watch your health. Good play, big play. You waited for him to place a shield down, and then that meant that he had a cooldown on when he could place it back up, so you're able to just kind of run past it. Okay, good job not wasting your shield. You're holding on to it a lot more now, so you're not just kind of burning it before the fight even starts. Okay, you're up 2 picks, so you can look to get a little bit more aggressive now. But keep in mind they just rezzed, so now you're only up 1. But never mind, you're up 3 now because you just got someone went off the map, and you also got another pick. So just watching kill feed, you're always doing that +1, -1 type of like addition, subtraction to figure out who's winning the fight, right? That's always gonna be important information to know. Pay attention where your team's at, because if they're up there, you might want to be up there to help them out, right? You can just shield them out real quick. Now you're down 2 people. Might look to play a lot more passive. Yep, just back up, regroup. Instead of walking towards him, look to get next to cover, right? That way you can duck behind cover yourself if you need to. And also, instead of just staring at him, you can also look behind, use your shield to look behind you and see where's my team at, right? Because if no one's standing behind you, why are you just going to be staring at the McCree?
Gotcha.
Okay, we're looking to just build up a shatter and get a big fast shatter off here. That's really the only way we can win this. And unfortunate, they use both bubbles at the same time. Gotta watch out for that, because we just they can either only block it through a shield or bubbles, and that's the only way. Now our team is getting picks, so this is very winnable. We got 3 picks. Very big. Yep, so now the cart's all the way back here. We instead of holding that front corner, we can probably hold this corner that you're on now. Good decision there. But if half your team's pushing forwards, you might want to push forward as well, right? If they're being stupid, be stupid with them, because then you have your whole team rather than half your team there.
Gotcha.
Okay. I think it was the coach Jane who said if one person is being stupid, that's called throwing. If 6 people are doing something stupid, that's called a strategy. Right, so if the more people you have doing that stupid thing, the better off it's going to be for you guys than if you're just trying to do it on your own or you're letting your teammates do it on their own. Big shatter. Oh, watch your health. Remember when you're not low, then there's no reason why you have to put up your shield. Could have kept swinging there a little bit. And so far this game, a lot of the decision making is a lot better, right? We're making a lot better decisions when it comes to aggression, when it comes to kind of where our positioning is. So that is working out really well for us so far. Okay, again, looking up to charge up shatter. Use it before we die. Good shatter. Hey, good game. Alright, so why don't you leave that real quick, and then we can do kind of the wrap up of the session. So, do you have any questions about anything we've gone over?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Well then, you shouldn't have anything else that you need to do since BNF ordered the session for you. But I will be getting you notes for everything we've gone over in like 10 to 15 minutes, and then also the video. I'll link that to you as well.
Okay.
So it's very nice talking with you, and if you ever have any questions, then just feel free to message me anytime, and I'd be
Gotcha. Thank
happy
you
to
so
get back to
much.
you. Yep, no problem, dude. See ya.
See ya.